I have nothing left to give. I have tried everything. The only thing I have left to give is my own body and my own life. I refuse to be part of Keir Starmer's lie. I refuse to be in any way responsible for what's happening.
Lizzie Greenwood is a British activist who is currently on hunger strike for Gaza.
My name is Lizzie, I am an activist and I am on day 4 of a hunger strike and I am on day 6. Today is day 9.
Memo interviewed Lizzie on the 19th day of her strike, which she is doing to protest the UK's complicity in funding and arming Israeli war crimes in Gaza.
The ideal end goal is that the UK will put an embargo on all UK arms exports and support of Israel. As 5 prime ministers before Keir Starmer managed to do in response to Israeli war crimes.
Before she started her hunger strike, Lizzie did a lot of research about what she would go through, both physically and mentally. She takes electrolytes and vitamins, and occasionally 250 calories a day in solidarity with the Palestinians in Gaza, as that is what, on average, they are expected to live on day by day under the siege as aid continues to be blocked. Lizzie was hospitalized on day 14 for the first time during her strike and another time on day 23.
I am scared. I was scared when I had to get admitted to hospital because I was really shaky and really weak. I'm not suicidal. This doesn't come from a point of having a death wish, but it does come from a point of desperation about really needing to make this point known. And as much as I am scared, I have the strength of my convictions and I have the really genuine belief that my life is not more important than this cause. My life is not more important than hundreds of thousands of Palestinian and Lebanese people.
I'm well aware of the definition of genocide, and that is why I've never described this and referred to it as genocide.
And it's going to be very clear which governments were responsible, and they will be held responsible to the full extent of the law. And it will be very clear which ones did it against the will and against the welfare of their own people, and that it will be the legacy of Keir Starmer's government. And I really hope that what I'm doing is going to solidify and drive that point home.
Although the new Labour government suspended 30 arms licenses for companies that supply Israel, they have allowed around 320 licenses to remain, meaning British arms are still being exported for use in the Gaza genocide. But Lizzie's education on genocide didn't start with Gaza. When she was in college, she was a youth ambassador for the Holocaust Education Trust, during which she visited all the concentration camps and Jewish cemeteries in Poland.
And the things that I saw there really fundamentally changed me as a person, to the point where I remember when I came back I couldn't actually speak on it at all for a couple of days. They walk you through the journey that every individual who entered those camps had to take, from the shaving of the heads to the undressing to the gas chambers, and you're seeing the actual piles of hair with individual ponytails and children's pigtails in it. You're seeing the actual piles of shoes, again with shoes that are this big. The focus of that project is the rehumanization of all of these victims and the education to make sure that that is never allowed to happen again. And to go from being part of that project to being forced to be complicit in essentially the exact same thing, the exact same process in a country that is funding and arming it and excusing it was just really, really heartbreaking and soul-crushing, and it was a real big call to action.
Lizzie's activism has turned to the situation in Gaza in recent years. This commitment led her to run as a candidate for the Workers' Party in Manchester, standing on a pro-Gaza and anti-war platform. Drawing from her work with the Holocaust Education Trust, Lizzie views the UK's support for the State of Israel as a moral wrong. Her hunger strike aims to make British citizens understand their connection to the atrocities in Palestine.
There's been a lot of Palestine is so far away, what is it to do with us, when it is everything to do with us. We installed the State of Israel, we set it up, we fund it, we arm it. We have been sitting back as a Holocaust happens out in the open, in front of all of us, in our name, So it's very much our human responsibility to resist and do something. And if all that comes out of this is that more people start thinking that way, more people start resisting, that's still a win, a worthy endpoint of this sacrifice. I was surprised by the amount of response and traction it got. I'm getting messages from Pakistan, Malaysia, lots from Gaza, and even from Tel Aviv, from people who are seeing it and saying that it means something to them and it is inspiring something in them, which was just really, really moving and powerful.
Palestinian flags can be seen on the local shops and homes around where Lizzie lives. Ordinary people expressing their solidarity with Gaza. Lizzie's radical act of solidarity is her way of showing she's literally willing to put her own body on the line to stop Britain's involvement in a genocide. But the strike has caused her body to undergo severe changes. At this stage, Lizzie is 27 days in at the time of publication. Her body has begun consuming its own fat reserves in a desperate attempt to cope with the limited calorie intake.
I perhaps didn't know that I would go into such an immediate state of anxiety. You know, your fight or flight response, your survival instinct kicks in really quickly when your body is under stress. And that sort of made me really think about what is happening under the famine in Gaza, because I'm thinking that they're having to deal with all of these symptoms, this inability to sleep because you're so stressed and so aware that you need nourishment. And then they're also being constantly displaced, they're being constantly bombed, they're grieving. Whatever I'm going through, it really is just 1,000 times more difficult for them. So it did really bring that home to me.